Hey, let's save democracy, everybody. This video is for you if you feel like this too these days when you watch the news. As bad as things are now, I hate to be the one to tell you, but they're going to get a lot worse if we don't win back a majority in Congress for Democrats and progressives on November 6, 2018. This is when we get to send the Republicans in Congress a strong message. You're fired. But we get one shot at this. There are no do-overs. If the 2016 election taught us anything, I hope it is that elections have real consequences, and a small number of votes, in that case 70,000 votes in 3 swing states, can decide an election. We need to ensure higher voter turnout than ever before for a midterm election. In 2014, we hit a historic 72-year low. Just 36% of eligible voters showed up to the polls. Almost 2/3 stayed home. This is why we lost a majority of Democrats in Congress, and we're still facing the consequences of that now. We need to do better. We need to vote for Democrats in waves to reclaim some of the power we the people need to move in a positive direction again. So I'm going to share 4 simple and critical action steps we can all take now to make this blue wave happen. This is your time and mine to be a hero and save our democracy. Because I would much rather see our 242-year-old experiment in American democracy continue rather than collapse under a tyrant. If you feel that way too, I'll hope you spend these next few minutes with me and share this video widely, because we all have work to do to save it. And I get the fact that the idea that democracy itself is in danger may still sound like hyperbole to some, so don't take my word for it. Take a word of the experts. You can go read How Democracies Die by Daniel Ziblatt and Stephen Levitsky to understand the parallels between where we are now and how former democracies subsequently fell under authoritarian rule. Or read The Soul of America by John Meacham if you want an uplifting reminder of all that we have already collectively overcome as a nation in dark times in our nation's history. The good news is we have come through the darkness before, John Meacham wrote. He also wrote, the war between the ideal and the real, between what's right and what's convenient, between the larger good and personal interest, is the contest that unfolds in the soul of every American. Our fate is contingent upon which element, that of hope or fear, emerges triumphant. We all have a choice to make in these coming days. Will we put the collective good above our own personal interests, choose hope over fear, and do what it takes to win back Congress? Future generations are counting on us to do that. As Barack Obama said in a recent speech, enough moping, time to take action. This was his call to action. If what you're doing requires no sacrifice at all, then you can do more. If you're one of these people who's watching cable news at cocktail parties with your friends and you're saying civilization is collapsing, but that is not where you're putting all your time, energy, and money, then either you don't think civilization is collapsing or you're not pushing yourself hard enough, and I would push harder. He added, this is a moment of great urgency, and you are right to be concerned. The simple message right now is that if people participate and they vote, then this democracy works. And if we don't vote, then this democracy does not work. This was Barack Obama's executive summary of what to do. Vote, participate, get involved. Here's some more inspiration from the Daily Kos. Keep at it, you're not alone. This task is not too much for all of us together. We will not let an American democracy die at the hands of a reality TV show host. We just won't. Now, as for why you should listen to me for advice about where to go from here, for those who don't know me yet, I'm Lisa Powell Graham. I was part of Hillary Clinton's presidential campaign staff in 2016. I have been working on campaigns for Democrats since I was 9 years old. I studied leadership in government when I was earning my master's degree at Harvard University, but most importantly, I am a concerned citizen like you, who is so tired of the circus that is politics today. I'm often overwhelmed, as I guess you may be sometimes too, by the insanity and chaos generated by this cruel and corrupt administration. I, probably like you, have cycled through all the stages of grief since 2016. Denial, anger, bargaining, depression, and acceptance. Now, acceptance doesn't mean I'm okay with what's happening, only that I understand that this is our current reality, and it's up to all of us to change it. So I want to get real. This is not the time to hide from or avoid or wish away our current reality. It is time to change it. Every few generations in world history, there comes a moment when a nation stands at a crossroads and must decide whether it will be a moral leader or whether a few power-hungry, corrupt individuals will plunge its people into a period of darkness. In the United States of America, we have had many dark and shameful periods in our relatively short history as an independent nation. Slavery, Jim Crow, the McCarthy era, Watergate, and now a president with no moral compass in the White House. Yet as the Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. has said, the long arc of moral history bends toward justice. Our country over time has consistently arced upward towards more equality, liberty, and freedom for all. That pattern was disrupted with the 2016 election, which sent us tumbling backwards. It's not too late to pivot and change direction and change the course of history. Our greatest challenge facing us is also our greatest opportunity. And no matter what you have or have not done up until this moment in your life, you have the chance to be a hero right now and to help shape the future of our democracy. It will take all of us. Democracy is not a spectator sport, as hopefully we have learned since the 2016 election, when nearly half of all eligible voters sat it out with disastrous results. At this point, if you sit it out and Republicans take the House and Senate, and our democracy dies a slow or swift death as a result, you are complicit. If you're a U.S. citizen and you have the power of your vote and you choose not to use it to stand up for this country and our Constitution and for your fellow Americans when it matters most, you are part of the problem. Instead, be the solution. I'd really like to believe that we can rise above our own everyday concerns to stand for something more, something greater than us. For me, what unifies us has always been our diversity, which is our greatest strength, our resilience and compassion towards others in times of crisis like after 9/11, our willingness to go where no one has ventured before as inventors and artists and innovators. Barack Obama said on the morning when the Supreme Court recognized gay marriage, our nation was founded on a bedrock principle that we are all created equal. Progress in this journey often comes in small increments, sometimes 2 steps forward, 1 step back, propelled by the persistent effort of dedicated citizens. Eleanor Roosevelt once said, "One thing I believe profoundly, we make our own history." We keep waiting for a hero to save us, y'all, but the hero is us. So let's make it a blue tsunami. It's time for all of us to put on our superhero capes to save our democracy. The good news is that there are now more than 200 million registered voters. For a point of comparison, when Barack Obama won in 2018, there were only 147 million registered voters. When Bill Clinton won in 1996, there were only 127 million registered voters. The number of registered voters has exploded since then and is trending upwards, and that trend favors the Democrats. We will out-register the Republicans, out-campaign them, outwork them, and we will win back the House and Senate for Democrats and progressives. As Beyonce once said, power is not given to you, you have to take it. So it's time to call upon the better angels of our nature, as Abraham Lincoln once said. It's time to stand up for Dr. King's dream. It's time to ask ourselves, as President John F. Kennedy once implored a nation, ask not what your country can do for you. Ask what you can do for your country. You get to be a hero for future generations. It's up to all of us, so let's get to it. So here are those 4 action steps. Number 1, most importantly, vote. This, of course, is the single most important thing we must all do. So mark November 6, 2018 on your calendars now. And check your voter registration now. You can go to www.vote.org to do that. Make sure all your friends and family are registered to vote. Be careful and double check everyone's voter registration, as there have been some voter suppression efforts, especially in red states, to kick people off the voter rolls. You want to make sure you are still registered to vote and know where to go on election day. Also, you can join in now in voter registration drives in your own state. Check the voter registration deadlines. Help go get others registered to vote. Go to college campuses. Get more people registered. And if your state allows for early voting, I highly recommend that you do early voting. Number 2, don't just vote, volunteer. Go to www.swingleft.org. This incredible organization has been working since right after the election in 2016 to get ready to win back the House of Representatives. They have identified key swing districts where Democrats will win likely by a small margin, and they have been aligning and organizing and getting people ready to win back those districts. So you can donate and give funds to the districts where it's needed most, and you can also sign up to do work in those districts. There will, of course, be important Senate campaigns as well. You might want to consider supporting Jackie Rosen in Nevada or Claire McCaskill. Number 3. Go to www.thelastweekend.org. Get out the vote weekend right before Election Day. That weekend before Election Day is critical. It's the most important time in any election cycle besides Election Day itself. We need millions of Americans out there knocking on doors and making phone calls to be sure we have people ready to get out and vote on Election Day. So go there now, pledge to sign up, organize your childcare, or bring your kids in the campaign trail, take time off from work if you need to. We really all need to be involved and engaged and win back and create this blue wave. In 2018. This is the time, y'all, for the blue wave. Finally, number 4, I am offering to all of us, myself included, a 100-day challenge because July 29th is the 100-day mark, with just 100 days left until November 6, 2018, until Election Day. So I'm challenging us all for the next 100 days to take at least one small action step every day to help save our democracy. You could make a $10 donation to a key swing district. You could call a senator to protest Brett Kavanaugh as a Supreme Court nominee. You could sign up to knock on doors. You could make sure your friends are registered to vote. You could adopt an independent voter who sat out the last election and offered to drive them to the polls. There are a million ways to help. And look, I know you're busy. I know you're facing challenges in your life because we all are. I know there are days when it feels easier to hide from all of this, shut down, or to scream and shout and curse Trump, or to argue with Trump trolls online. But I can assure you that Trump will still be a dangerous asshole today and tomorrow, and that you will not sway those Trump voters. Instead, let's focus our energy on winning back the House and Senate. That's where our power lies. It needs to be the focus right now for all of us. Our collective future depends upon what we all do now. Be a hero. I want us all to be celebrating all the blue wave victories after Election Day, and then to see the new majority of Democrats in Congress rolling up their sleeves to get to work and hopefully finally impeaching this disastrous president. I feel like so many people I know, myself included, have felt these waves of emotion, of rage and anguish and hopelessness and despair since 2016. This is when we take our power back. As Glenda the Good Witch once said to Dorothy in The Wizard of Oz, "You have always had the power, my dear." I'll end with a few words from the Talmud. Do not be daunted by the enormity of the world's grief. Do justly now. Love mercy now. Walk humbly now. You are not obligated to complete the work, but neither are you free to abandon it. And just a quick PS, if you've made it this far with me, thank you. And if you don't feel you have the strength, energy, and courage gathered yet for all of this, here's a little more inspiration from the Daily Kos. I ask you to do this. Think about the people who fought and bled and died for decades for the right to vote. Think about the people who hid for years in floorboards and attics, literally for years, to escape the Nazis. Think about the soldiers who walked into actual war with their friends, knowing that many would die to save the world from fascism. then ask yourself, am I really done? Do I not feel the fever of righteousness? Am I not lightened by the rays of hope? Have I not come here with the support of millions just like me? Is our democracy really not worth a battle worth fighting? Historian Arthur M. Schlesinger Jr. once wrote, "The genius of America lies in its capacity to forge a single nation from people of remarkably diverse racial, religious, and ethnic origins." And this is still what makes America truly great, y'all. If this is still how we want to be known in the world, now is the time to correct course and steer the ship in a different direction again. And now I'll really close with a few words from the Declaration of Independence, dated July 4th, 1776. We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men and women are created equal, that they are endowed by their Creator with certain unalienable rights, that among these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. If we want that to be the case for all Americans, it's up to all of us to fight for that right now. Let's do this. So, it's time, y'all. Blue Wave 2018. I'll see you out there on the election trail. Let's do this.